Testing 1, 2. Guys, jump on here real quick. I think I'm a minute late. I'm trying to suss myself out here and see if I can. People ask me all the time, why do you reflect? Why do you reflect? Why do you wear that reflector? Well, because I'm always vlogging and I'm always on the street. So I was telling a bunch of people today. I had a meeting this morning. And they asked me that. They said, so what's the deal with the reflector? I said, well, you know, my office, the proximity of Lumumba Road, SML, Simon Mwewa Lane, and the Kalushabwalia Road. I'm real close to all of these streets. And what used to happen in the past was I would come regularly dressed. And then if I heard something, if I heard a commotion, I'd have to wear my reflector, which is this, and then go downstairs and do my vlogging. And if you really must know, a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to vlog in regular clothes until one day a bus driver almost ran me over. And he was furious. He came to a screeching halt, rolled down his window, and he yelled at me. He said, "Mwewa, get a reflector or one of these days we're going to run into you." And from that day on, I've always worn these reflectors. But here's the thing. I keep them on because at any given time, this area that I work in, and I've been working here for many, many years, is a volatile area. I mean, it's got everything here. This is the epicenter of the CBD. When I was growing up in the 80s, 70s and 80s, the CBD was Cairo Road. Not anymore, honey. Lumumba Road, SML, namely Simon Mwewa Lane, and Kalushabwalia Road. That inflection right there, that is the apex of the CBD. And so there's lots of action here. All you have to do is pull out your camera, press record, and you have content between now and rapture. So that's the reason I always wear it. And the only thing, though, is that this shirt is a bit lopsided. I need to get new clothes, honestly, really. Could somebody tell me? My wardrobe is just an absolute mess. And the truth is, I've been meaning to do that for a while. First of the year, I sort of made a commitment to myself and to you, my viewers, that I was going to sort of dress more presentably as I do these little podcast talking head deals. But, you know, life being what it is, it's a little unpredictable, and boom, here I am. You know, guys, tell me in the comments if this broadcast is clear. Also, if you could do me a favor and share this broadcast. I know it's about 10 minutes before the 1900 hours news, and I'm going to try and get you out of here before that or right on the dot. But I really desperately need for you to sort of sling this broadcast and sort of share it with people that you think would be interested in this topic. And thank you very much for taking the time to be with me. Very quickly, 3 topics. I'm going to begin with P. Diddy. As many of you know, Puff Daddy, the music hip-hop mogul Puff Daddy, otherwise known as Sean Puffy Combs, has been convicted on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. Now, let's focus in on this a bit. In America, and I know many of you know, that if you, let's say you live in Louisiana, okay? And the only reason I use Louisiana is because I went to school there, and the capital city of Louisiana is Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge means red stick, because, you know, Louisiana used to be a French colony and all. Well, let's say you live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then you see a girl on Instagram that lives in Dallas, Texas. Now, Texas is right next to Louisiana. Okay, so it's I think it's Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas is in there, Mississippi, in that whole area. If you call a girl from Dallas, Texas, because you saw her on Instagram, and you say to her, "I like you. I'd like to get together with you, break me off a little something, something, and then I'll pay you for your services. When she leaves Dallas, Texas, and comes to Baton Rouge, where you are, and she crosses the state line to come be with you for sexual favors in exchange for money, that's called transportation for prostitution. And in America, there's a law against that, and it carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. So just to bring it down, sort of, let's break it down to sort of like a local scenario. Okay, if you call someone from Impica, if you see some girl that you like from Impica and say, hey girl, I'm gonna send you some bus money and you come down to Lusaka and let's meet at the Protea Hotel. That's just an example. Protea, please don't sue me. I should have just said hotel. Let's say you say, let's meet at a hotel. In America, that's called crossing state lines for sexual favors in exchange for money. It's illegal. It is a federal offense, and you can go to prison for it. And which is what P. Diddy, Puff Daddy was charged with he had many different charges: sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution. Now remember, sex trafficking is a more serious offense. Transportation for prostitution is a less serious offense. It still carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. So Puff Daddy has been convicted on 2 counts. 2 counts. Transportation for prostitution. Now, we don't know what the judge is going to say in terms of, sentencing him. That's still yet to be known. Puff Daddy's lawyers have asked the court to release him pending sentencing, sentencing. His lawyers have said to the court, look, okay, you found him guilty. Can he go home? And when you, as the court, decide what his sentence will be and should be, we can just come back to court and you can tell us what it is. We don't know what the court has decided, but I would imagine that in the next several weeks, if not a couple of months, the court will decide and then he will be sentenced. I don't see Puff Daddy doing more than 5 years in prison. I just don't see it. They could throw the book at him. They could very easily, because this was such a high profile case. They could, but you never know. He's got high powered lawyers that are sort of weasel through the cracks and the nooks in the case, and we'll see what happens there. Alrighty, so that's on Puff Daddy. As many of you know, the news broke out a few hours ago that filmmaker David Kazadi, who's a friend of mine, and I tell you, David to me is one of the most amazing filmmakers that I have ever met. Well, he's in a bit of trouble because as of a few hours ago, we heard on the wireless right here on social media that the police have arrested him and detained him in connection with the mwewa. I always get her last name wrong. What is her last name? Just tell me in the comments, because I always want to say something else, and it always comes out wrong. What's the name of the young lady? The young lady that was recorded servicing a guy who the police now are connecting David Kazadi to that sex tape. What's her name? Just tell me her name in the comments there. I'm so sorry, I forget. Halwindi, that's right. I always want to say Hamwinga. I don't know why I want to say that. For those of you that are unaware, let me bring you up to speed. A few weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, maybe 10 days ago, a videotape made its rounds, not on social media, but on WhatsApp and different inboxes. And it depicted a young girl by the name of Mwaka Mwaka Halwindi, who is a very famous actress and social media influencer, She's done commercials. She did a television show called Tikula, which translated means we have matured. And she's a brand ambassador for many different products. And apparently she was caught in a videotape, not caught, she was recorded performing oral sex, servicing some guy who we do not know. And the guy actually climaxed in her mouth, and it was very graphic. The only question I had about that, and please allow me to make this side note, is that if you see that footage, it clearly shows that she was crying or something. I just couldn't wrap my brain around that. That didn't make any sense to me, that it appears as though she was crying. My initial thought was that sort of act is supposed to be a pleasurable act, not only for the girl, but for the guy that's receiving that sort of service. I can't think of any reason why anybody would be shedding tears, because there's no such thing as tears of pleasure. There are tears of joy, okay? When people can be so happy that they cry, but I've never heard of a situation where your orgasm is so climactic that you start to shed tears. I mean, it's, that doesn't even sound right. The very thought of that sounds absolutely ridiculous. So it baffles me, it confuses me, it befuddles me that at the very tail end of that footage, what you could clearly see is that she's shedding a tear. And the question is why? Now, I know for some of you that are asking, why are you talking about this? It's very simple. We are social media commentators, guys. That's what we do. So anything that is trending is open for discussion the way we're doing now. I think it's a bit disingenuous for anybody to suggest, no, but why are you talking about it? Anybody can talk about it. Why? Because it's an open topic. It's trending. People are talking about it. And there are lessons that we can draw from this. Very strong lessons. And so let's not get caught up in that. Let's not get caught up in, no, you shouldn't be talking about it. Anybody can discuss it. It just so happens to be me in this case. So basically, when this footage was released, and a lot of people have it, a lot of people watched this video and saw it. Now, the question was, who released the tape? In fact, Mwaka herself, there's a voice note that's sort of been distributed and widely circulated, a voice note allegedly of her asking one of her friends who leaked it. Well, here's my thought. It doesn't matter who leaked it. That is not the question. The question is not who leaked it. The question is, why did you allow yourself to be placed in that position where you were recording or someone was recording you? I keep telling you guys, never ever record yourself being intimate with anybody. I don't care who you are. Never do it. It is the most stupid, the most irresponsible thing that any human being can ever do, to record an intimate act such as lovemaking or sex or whatever it is. That should not be recorded, because here's the thing, guys, and I keep telling you, with young people, there's no such thing as a secret. Anytime someone calls you and says, I'm going to share something with you, but girl, don't you share it with nobody. Don't you tell anybody. That is code. C-O-D-E. Okay? That is a message that basically says, tell the whole world. Anytime a young person says, oh, I got something to show you, I got something to tell, but don't you tell anybody, this is between you and me. That is code for, as soon as I send it to you, as soon as I share it, send it to the entire planet and the Milky Way. That's the way that it is. That's how young people roll. So you can't trust young people. You can't record such a thing and think that it's going to be under wraps and it's going to be a secret. It's not going to be a secret, because anything that is pornographic, anything that is salacious, anything that is scandalous, oh honey, they're going to share it. Okay, and the whole world's going to know about it. So rule number one, whenever you feel intimate, you want to sort of get it going on with your significant other, don't record it. That's the dumbest thing you could ever do. Do not record it. Now, here's the thing. When it was released, people didn't know who that was, who the guy was. You know, there was a lot of speculation, and be that as it may, people were sort of willing to forego the knowledge of who the guy was. Well, today, we sort of heard that the police have detained David Kazadi in connection with this tape. Now, let me explain what is going to happen with this issue. And somebody says, well, how do you know this? Because the new cyber laws have spelt this out very, very clearly. Okay, in this new dispensation, in this new environment of these cyber laws, the police have access to your phone, they have access to your computer. All they need is reasonable suspicion. For example, in this case, I'm imagining, I don't know, I wasn't there. If the police walked in and picked David up, they would also pick up his phone and his laptop. Okay? Because the law has changed. This is what the law says. Okay? The police come in, they suspect that you're involved in this, they arrest you. They legally have the right to confiscate your phone and your device, and they legally have access to your data in your phone or your laptop. All they need to gain access is reasonable suspicion. Meaning, if the police suspect that there's information in your phone that can shed more light on this issue, they have access to your phone under these new cyber laws. Here in Zambia, the police can compel you and say, open your phone. We want to see what your messages were with this girl. If there's anything in there that suggests that our suspicions are valid, then we're going to take it to another level. That's how these new cyber laws are working. So guys, the advice is very simple. Do not record anything that is intimate. You want to be intimate, keep it between you and whoever it is. The whole world doesn't have to know. We don't have to know. Okay? Lastly, Faith Musonda, you know, the lady that was, she was accused and charged with possession of property deemed to be proceeds of crime, almost 65 million kwacha the last time I checked. Well, she's been going to court for a while, and I think yesterday the story on the street is that she became fed up with the fact that her case is dragging, so she went over to Community House, which is where the president lives, and she went there to demand and ask the question, why the HE double hockey sticks is my case taking so long? First of all, P1 is not in any position to tell you about that, because that's not his jurisdiction. Okay, that's the ACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, even the police. For Faith Musonda to go to Community House and ask that question was not only irresponsible, it was foolhardy, but it was it just didn't make any sense. And the word on the street is that she said, well, I was a bit drunk, I shouldn't have done that. My question is, what I know is that Faith Musonda is a Christian. She's a Christian woman. So what the heck is a Christian woman doing inebriated, driving around in the New Kasama area, looking for P1's house? It doesn't make any sense. And you know what they say? If it's not gelling, then it's not Jello. All right. Thought I'd share that with you guys. Thank you for watching. I got to go home. Good night.